Good morning, everyone. I'm just looking at the comments and wow, Alice, 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. That's a heat wave at minus 12. Yes, that's somewhat of a heat wave. North Carolina, 30 degrees. Stephanie, they're in the 30s, but does that mean you're above freezing or below? Wish I could. Everyone, warm weather is why I moved south from Pennsylvania. Yes, I guess so. Gig Harbor, Washington, Roseanne. Excuse me. See who else is here this morning and where people are coming in. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one because we're going to be doing this live. We picked, actually, Tika picked a project for me last night and I wasn't allowed to touch it because we want to do everything live as we go through our reverse engineering today. And I'm really looking forward to it, or not. Will depend. See how many little errors, tricks, and tips we go through as we get into it. Good morning from Illinois. I understand there's supposed to be a snowstorm on the eastern coast, but I'm not too sure if it came in. Hello from Turkey, Istanbul. Evening hours here. Istanbul is a place I've always wanted to visit, and I've heard that it's quite amazing. So looking forward to perhaps visiting there one day. So we still have a few more people coming in. I just want to wait. Good morning. 6 degrees in Parker, Colorado. So you still got it cold. Hopefully you've got snow to go with it so you can do some skiing. I know Colorado's always famous for the skiing. I've been to that Red Rock amphitheater, just amazing, just off of Colorado Springs. And of course, I had to drive up Pikes Peak while I was there. And that was quite interesting as well. See who else is here. I see people dribbling in just a little bit at a time. I'll give ourselves one more minute and then we will get going. So Tika, what's the weather like where you are?
Here it's... let me check. It's 5 degrees and
Okay, so we double
raining.
it 30, so you're at 40 degrees.
Yeah.
That's nice. Not bad at all. Oh, Sandra, good morning from Toronto. We heard about your snowstorms, 2 back to back, so I hope you've dug out by now. And hi, Jen from New Jersey. Hi from, looks like Florida, Doris. So I don't imagine you've had a snowstorm, although there was some snow about a month or so ago. So you never know. All right. I guess we should get going. And what we're going to do today is we're going to reverse engineer a project. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So I just want to make sure I got my PowerPoint up on the screen here. We are February 19th. And of course, I said we are doing some reverse engineering. Now, if you're new to our webinars, because we have a ton of people registering each week, and we all love to learn from each other. So here is a list of the places that we have that you can connect with us. Of course, our Facebook group, Bette Makes, and that Facebook group has about 15,500 people in it. So we post there every day, at least one thing. And it's a little more difficult to get to the questions unless you direct them to us and tag us in that Facebook group, which is a really great thing to do. YouTube, it's Bette Makes Media. And of course, this is broadcast there at the same time it is on StreamYard. And our Pinterest account is Bette Maker Creations. And Instagram is Bette Makes. And our blog, of course, is bettesmakes.com. And we have a Ko-fi shop at ko-fi.com. So all the places you can connect with us. So as we get started, I hope you're going to stay till the end. As usual, we have a wonderful little treat for you at the end as we go through our process of reverse engineering. So it's time for you to load up Cricut Design Space. You may or may not need it during this one because we're going to do a lot of things by hand and a lot of measuring, but you can bring up Design Space and start working on it at the same time. In case you don't know us and you're brand new, of course, I'm Dr. Bette, and I'm a partner with my daughter, Tika, who you see on the screen here as well. She and I have been crafting and designing our own makes for many, many years. Actually, since she was born, she's been crafting with her mom. So we've had a lot of fun with it. And of course, I'm a former university professor, corporate trainer, high school teacher. Tika is an artist and professional multi-crafter. She is an amazing designer. She designs all of our digital papers, and those are absolutely amazing. Between us, we've developed hundreds of training programs, even written more than a dozen books. Tika has written some fantasy novels as well, and those are published. And for me, it's more on the technical side, so a lot of fun. But we don't want to talk about ourselves. Our goal here is to take you from what you know now, and hopefully you will learn a few things about our design process, how we reverse engineering things and make them come to reality. I just want to make sure you're in the right place. So I see a few names that I have not seen before. So I just want to make sure that if you feel like you have enough knowledge and can make most of the things you want, and you can get into messes and make things and often waste a lot of materials in the process, you're probably right here, because we do the same thing initially when we design it. We want to be able to take it so that you can, of course, then make all of this yourself. And if you feel this is not for you, we will not feel insulted if you decide that you want to just leave the webinar. We do post the replays on the same page you come to get the link to be on this. So we publish those in there right after we finish with the webinar today. That will be published, so you won't have to worry about it. So if you don't have time to work on crafts, or you don't want to take courses, obviously you are not in the right place. So let's take a look at what we've done in the past. We've done dingbats, simple gift ideas, card folding. We did some debossing techniques last week. And this week, of course, it is reverse engineering. We are taking a week off next week from the webinars as we are finalizing our mini course that is happening on Design Space. And I have a few more things to talk about towards the end. On March 5th, we stop up again, and we're going to do some perforations, and we might talk a little bit about it today. On March 12th, we're going to do recycle and upcycle. So we want you to save your rolls from paper towels, from toilet paper, save those rolls, save your cereal boxes, save plastic pieces, because we're going to have some fun putting stuff together there. That would be on March 12th. And then on March 26th, and you'll notice there's not one in between those two. That is because we have our spring, it's called our March workshop, and we have a lot of really cool things we're making on that March workshop, and that will be in between March 12th and the 26th. I believe it's around the 15th. And then we have a new course starting up around March 18th. So lots of stuff happening, lots of stuff that we are going to do. So this is a simple agenda for today, and it's the 7 steps of reverse engineering. And you might kind of wonder what those are. I'll tell you what they are right now, and then we'll go through them when we hit over to my demo table, and we'll start taking stuff and putting it apart. Now, I'm not going to be able to see the comments or anything as I'm taking it apart. So I'm going to rely on Tika, and I'm going to make sure that she has her voice available so that she can help direct me as I'm doing things. So this is a 2-part piece. So here's our 7 steps, and it's actually quite easy, but I like to do them in order because it really makes a huge difference on what can happen for you. And of course, number 1 is selecting a project that you want to reverse engineer. So going through the dollar store or other places, you can find an object that you are going to work with. So step number 2, of course, is to examine that piece once you get it home and take a look at it. We've got a few steps and questions you're going to have to answer when it comes to examining it. And then number 3 is you're going to take a photo of it so you know what it looks like when it is put together. So when you go to take things apart, you will be able to then say, oh yeah, this goes here or that goes there. Otherwise, you can buy 2 of them and leave one intact and the other one will take apart, because we're going to take it apart in step 3. And then in step 4, you're going to measure and document everything. That means if you do the circumference of something, you're going to need to document it. So you're going to need a thing like a ruler and a tape measure. You need something that's soft that you can measure round corners. You need a ruler for straight ones. You could use your measuring tape for that as well. And of course, you're going to need some scissors and a few things to take stuff apart, and some glue and some pencils in order to take the next step. So in step 5, what we're going to do is you're either going to do a digital representation of it, and you can do that in Design Space, or you're going to hand draw it based on the measurements. So you've approximately got what you want. I like to hand draw mine and then bring it to the computer and make the changes from that. Now remember, this project we're working on today, I have not touched before. So you're going to get all of the mistakes and everything else that I do in order to do that. And step 6 is, of course, is to test it out, make sure it works, and then add any refinements you have. And then the last step, of course, is to personalize it and add different parts and pieces to it. So you may want to add digital paper to it. You might want to cut out some ephemera and add to it. You might want to add names. So all kinds of different things we're going to do in those 7 steps. So 1 is select your craft, 2 is examine, 3 is to take it apart, 4 is to measure, 5 is to hand draw it or draw it in some way, 6 is to test it, and 7 is to personalize it. So we're going to go through all 7 of those steps, and I know you're going to absolutely love what we are going to do. So I'm going to take you directly over to my demo table. Hopefully the camera will show, and we will just show the demo table on the screen. And Tika, if you make sure you have your hot mic so that you can talk to me as we go through the process in case I go in the wrong direction. I'm going to follow the 7 steps. So let's go over there, and I know you're going to have a lot of fun with this. So let's see if my demo table comes up here, and yes, it does. I'm just going to move my mic over. I want to make sure everybody can still hear me. Tika, you'll let me know if you can still hear me.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, what I'm going to give to you at the end of this whole process, of course, is I've written out all the steps for you and made a workbook, and that's what you'll get at the end of this session. So we're going to go through a lot of this. So don't worry about taking notes about the questions. What you want to do is be able to go through the process. So I'm just going to open up my little book here. I did print mine out. And for step 1, we're selecting a paper craft, of course. And, you know, this is just something I found in the dollar store. I paid $2 for this. It's Fluff's tissue, but I kind of liked it. It had sort of a rolled edge here. This thing just pushes down. It just looked like it's not glued. So what I'm doing right now is what type of object? Obviously, it's a type of box. That's what I would call it. And it's got, you want to know what kind of material you are using at the same time. So this one is a pretty heavy cardstock, I would say, like a craft board. This one at the top piece seems like it's almost a craft board. It's got some perfs in it. This bottom one's a little lighter in the cardstock. So I know I've got 1, 2, maybe 3 pieces that I want to work with. So how many pieces does it have is going to be important for you as well. So that's all in step 1. Type of project is a gift box. Materials are a heavier cardstock, although we will make it from paper to start. And of course it has what I can see is 3 pieces and whatever is inside. So we now know what we are going to take. So that will take you through the questions here. So next, I'll open this up a bit. We're going on to step 2, and that's examining the structure. So how many main pieces does it have? I would say it's the same 3. Are there any tabs or flaps for gluing? Yes, I can see that we are going to have to take it apart from here. There is a seam that comes down here. So we know we are going to be taking it apart. And it looks like they don't have their pattern matching here. And what we can do is when we put ours together, reverse engineer it, is make sure that we have a nice pattern that fits. And that is part of any decorative element. It looks like maybe they glued over top of this digital paper, or they used a heavy cardstock. So I'm just looking for decorative elements. Now for this top piece, I see they've perforated inside the top here. So that's basically what the main structure looks like. And of course, in our workbook, we are going to allow you to then draw in it what you want. So we want to go to number 3. Is we're going to disassemble it. But as I said before, I think the best thing for you to do is just grab your camera from your phone. And what I'm going to do is just grab my phone here. And I'm just going to grab the camera. Just put it down here. And I'm just going to take a photo of it just so I know what it looked like. Take a photo. I'm going to turn this up so I can see the bottom end. And this is for my own record. So when I go back, I can come back to my phone, and then of course I will be able to see what this is all about. Now, this is the tough part for me. I'm just going to grab another little tool here. I'm going to bring my X-Acto knife in with my tape out of the way. I've got a few things that I'm going to be using here. I am going to take this apart. I think I'm going to see if I can pop the bottom out. That was really easy. All right, can I do this? This looks like it's glued in at the top, so I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this big wad of tissues out. Maybe I'll be able to use that in mine. I'll just put those aside. And I'm just looking inside here. They've got a piece of plastic here. And that, I think, is for dispensing the tissues. So I'm going to pull this apart. So there we go. We found another part. We have something that is, of course, taken apart here. That has the perfs on it. But now I've got another rim. But there's a piece of plastic in here with a slit. And I didn't make note of that before. Let me just take a little picture of that. All right, so now I got to try and get this apart. I wonder, is there an easy way to do this? Doesn't look like it wants to. So now I'm going to take a look at the seams inside here. Looks like they have a complete roll and things are taken apart. So this is going to be one of the more difficult ones to take apart. I should have found something that was easier for me. There we go. I was able to destroy it quite easily. Pop out the bottom end so I can look at this and see where it was glued on. So it looks like the piece of plastic with a slit. And then it has a circle. And it looks like it only had a couple of little glue spots on the circle. So it looks like we're good to go with this. This may be the tougher piece to take apart. It looks like they had a roll, and all they did, oh, this is interesting. Let's see if I can get this undone. This is the hard part. So I'm going to just take my scissors and start taking this apart. How are we doing so far, Tika?
So far, so good.
This is what you did for some of your projects? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love destroying things. You just have to see what's going on inside here. Okay, that's one part of it. What else is going on in here? And this just looks like it's a circle. Okay, let me get this other end done. I'm just wondering how we're going to be able to do the fold over. got to be a trick to it. All right, we're almost around the corner here. Now, as we're looking inside this, trying to see if there's anything special about it. There isn't. There's like a paper that's glued over top. And I might not be able to take this apart exactly the way I want it, but at least I will be able to see what the structure is all about here. So it looks like this is just a paper that was glued over top of a tube. That's exactly what it is, but the tube was sort of tempered at the top and rolled under. So it looks like we are going to be making a tube. You can use a tube that you already have. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a tube underneath with paper on top. And it looks like they just took a tube. So what we want to do, of course, is make the tube and then paper to go over top and then figure out how to roll the ends. And then we, of course, need all of these little pieces and parts that I took apart here. So what we have to do when we're doing this, we're trying to gently unfold it, but it looks like this is pretty glued on. I don't know if I'll be able to get the whole thing right off. But I should be able to take a measurement by going around on it. And you're supposed to flatten out all the pieces and analyze the shapes, but I don't think I'm going to be able to flatten this as it's a round tube. We did take a photo or make a tracing of the pieces as well. And we also need to, describe parts and pieces. So this one at the top, this is a mystery piece for me because it's all rolled in. And this is pretty darn thick.
I would just rip the paper off and then cut down the side of the tube and get it as flat as I can.
Oh, okay. So I can just rip that off and just cut this open.
Yeah.
Okay. Holy moly. That is a tough one.
They use some heavy cardstock.
Yeah, it's I've done this in layers, but I think we could do it with heavy cardstock with just measuring this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. If we know the diameter of the lid, we could do some math and figure out the length of the rectangle that we need. So what we would do is measure our circle, find out the diameter of it, and then times it by pi.
Okay. Now, I know that's a lot of mathematical parts of it, but the best part about if we're doing a circle and we go back to design space, all I need to know is the diameter because I can tell it how many inches in design space, and I'll be able to create this. So inside your workbook, you're going to have like the piece name, the width, the height, and any other measurements you need. We've given you a place to record it. For me right now, I think I'll use my ruler right here. And it, let's see, it appears to be 2 and, let's see, 1/2 and 1/8. So 5/8. 2 and 5/8 is the diameter. I'm just going to use this, and it's going to be, I'm going to call this diameter 2 5/8 inch, and this is the that's the bottom, isn't it? Okay, so we know this one's going to be the same. So this circle at the top, but we've cut out a circle inside of it, or actually perfed it and cut a little piece out here. So this is going to be another little one that we want to make sure that we know it is actually at 2 inches. Exactly 2 inches. So the perf part is 2 inches. And this one will be, of course, the same 2 5/8. So the top is 2 5/8. Now we need this little plastic piece as well, and that's going to be the same 2 5/8, and you need a slit down the middle. So this is getting interesting. So the top, and it has a slit. So we need, I'm just going to make a little note here. Plastic plus craft board. And now we have the tube itself. I'll just put these aside. The tube itself, including the roll. See if I can get a good measurement on this. It's 7 1/4 inches. That's the height, 7 1/4 inches. And get this as close, flat as possible. That was really hard. This is 8 1/8. Oh, I've got a little bit extra over here. Let me just move that over here. I can make it, yeah, it has to be exact, because let me see if I can push it down. This is really a hard one. I'm going to be able to get all the pieces and parts in here. Some of it is never that easy. Okay, it's 8 1/4. We're good with 8 1/4. Ooh, that was a hard one to take off. Got that piece of paper, extra piece of paper. All right, next step, of course, we've got all our measurements in place here. I've just written them down generally, just so I know what I'm working with. And now we're going to create a digital or hand-drawn template from this. Now, what I like to do is, of course, hopefully this paper this is just scrap paper that came off my machine. It's got a little bit of nothing on it. I like to draw it by hand just to make sure that everything is going to be in place. So we want to start, I'm going to start with the tube itself. So for the tube, of course, I want it at 8 1/4. So let me just, I'm going to go from the edge. I'll move the extra pieces out of the way. I'm going to go from the edge so I can get this proper. So I want 8, what did I say? 8 1/4. Okay, so there's 8 1/4. And I'll do another one down here. 8 1/4. And then the other way, it is 7 1/4. So let's go down from here. 7 1/4. And I'll bring it from here. Can you see everything?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not off my table here.
This is the process we usually use when we're designing things for our workshops.
We do this for every workshop. We design everything like this. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, so that would be our tube piece. And I'm going to write on here as well. So I just want to make sure, just double check the measurements. This is 8 1/4 inches. And I always put it on the piece because I don't always, of course, have my notebook with it. So this is 7 1/4 inches. And I could use a guillotine for this, but I'm just going to use my scissors for now because this is our prototype that we're making. Now, the big thing with this is they had a piece of paper glued over top, which you could do, or you can make the tube and then glue the other piece on top of it. Now, if you have a designed, I would say, craft board that you have the pattern already, that would work. Otherwise, we're going to need one for the tube and two for the digital paper or whatever paper you're using.
What were the measurements of the lip? Because you're going to need a lip, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Now, I included the lip in my measurements, but you're right. I have to bring this over here and just, we've got a lip on both ends, and they are, let me just get this down right at the 6. Push it down. And I can see it right here. And it's interesting. They don't have an even number. They've got 3/8 of the lip on that end. And see if it's the same on the other. This is not a ruler. No, this end it has 2/8. 3/8 at the top and 2 at the bottom. So we could, if you want to make it even.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do. What do you? I'm thinking 1/4 inch for the roll over.
Okay.
So I'm just going to mark it on here. Okay, so we want the roll over at the top here. So where's my ruler again? Just going to mark it. What did we say? 1/4 inch? Can't see. This is upside down. Okay, 1/4 inch. It's just easier to see on the 12th side because they got too many lines in there. It's 1/4 inch there. I'd like to have a ruler that doesn't have the edge. Let me see. I've got this Cricut ruler that might work better because it goes right to the edge. I hate having to measure for different things. You see my little desk here is getting pretty full. All right, that's going to work much better because I can see the lines a lot easier. There's the 1/4 inch here. Does that look about right? Very close. We're going to just do 1/4 inch. I don't want to get too fussy with it. So I'll just mark it down here as well. We'll do the same on the other side. Now this could be one of the adjustments you make later on the design. Small spaces. All right, that's good for the measuring. Let me move that giant ruler out of the way. This one is good for doing the lines across. So I would say we'd put like a score line here. So let me just do this. Did I come across it properly? Okay. I might have made him too fat. I don't know. We'll find out. They look a little bit bigger than a 1/4 inch to me, but I'll just mark them as 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. Now the other thing was, as we go, we're going to have a little bit of overlap to put this together. So we did the measurement of exact. So I'm going to have to add a tab to this. Or we can make it, no, we can't make it smaller because we have the circles we've just measured. So first, you want to maybe add a tab on the edge because you're not going to be able to do that. I'm just taking a look.
That would be something we did do in Design Space. Right now, we're just trying to
Get the general stuff.
The general stuff.
Okay, now the easy part for the next one, I don't have to do any measuring for this, but I can just come through and just trace exactly what I want. But we also know this is 2 5/8 inch. That'll help. I need 2 of those. And then we need our little perfy guy. And this is just for us to know exactly what we want here. It's an interesting thing. I didn't actually measure what this little cutout might be. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's approximately 1/2 inch. So this is a 1/2 inch. This is cut out, and this, of course, and this one is 2 inches. This is perfed. Now I need one of those. I'm going to use this because this is a little rough. So I need this one. And then I don't know how I'm going to get that in there. They've got that piece of plastic. I guess I should have taken the plastic right off. Easier said than done. I take apart those tissue boxes that have the little bit of plastic in the lining. That's what this reminds me of. Okay. Well, that destroyed the plastic and the ring.
They must use Aleene's glue.
Okay, all I wanted this was for doing this. And it fell right apart. Okay, so I want one more of these. This is the plastic. Plastic. And this one has a slit approximately down the middle. This is the plastic. And of course that to there is 2 5/8. And we'll make this approximately 2 inches for this one. This is the ring. Boy, I really didn't do that very well, but it's off center. So that's the same thing. This is the ring top. And that's 2 5/8 inch from there to there. And it is 2 inches from there to there. Destroy plastic, destroy piece. All right. Next, we are going to go ahead and try and construct one of these inside a design space. And, you know, that's the fun part. You're getting all these measurements going. And as long as you've got them written on here, you'll have something to go back on, but also writing them down on a piece of paper to start. I like doing the hand-drawn ones just because I know these are a perfect thing for getting going on it. So our next one is we're doing this hand-drawn template, and we just want to make sure we're as accurate as possible. Sorry, my phone is ringing here. Ontario is calling me. Okay, so now step 6 is testing and refining what we have done. That means we are actually going to go into design space. So once we get in there, we're going to do what we call a test cut. And is it easy to cut and fold? Are there tabs large enough? So the tabs we know we have to put in there. So I'm just going to make a little note on here. Tab needed, one side. Now, is it going to be easy to do? We don't know that yet because of the curl on this thing. So we're going to figure that one out for sure. there any additional tools or adhesive for a proper build? Yes, we've got some glue. We've still got our measuring tapes going. And you're going to make some notes on adjustments. And then, of course, our final step is to personalize it as we go through. So we've gone through most of the steps here. We are now going to take this and move over to design space. Tika, is there anything else I should have written down on these?
Nope, that looks good to me.
Okay, now I just have to hope that this is going to work out for us. Excuse me while I move my microphone a little bit, and we are going to head over to design space. All right, any questions so far on what we've done? Maybe they did it in centimeters. Okay. Yeah, I'm staying at inches because 90% of the people that come on the call are from the US, and feet and inches are great. And I know us in Canada, or at least my age, you grew up with feet and inches and got changed over a little later in life. Wrapping up the tube around the end. Struck the tube after cutting the end. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Any questions? Everybody happy so far? I just want to make sure we take you through our process because it just makes it a lot easier to work with things. Okay, so let's start that new project. I have all the stuff in hand here. So I'm going to start with the tube. So let's grab a shape. Grab our little square here. I have to change it to a lighter color. It just works better for me. All right, so now I'm going to unlock it. And we know the width is 8.25. And I'm just going to hit the tab key here. I'm looking at my document, and this is 7.25. So there we have that tube. I'm just going to lock it in place. Now we said on the 8.5 across, we had a 1/4 inch for a score line. Okay, so we'll put the score lines in later because I want to put a tab on this. So let me just position this at 1 and 1. So we're up at the top. I'm going to grab another shape here, another square. Close this. So I want to make this, let's see, width is going to be 8.25. And I'm going to make a 1/2 inch tab, so I'll make it 1/2 inch. Oops, what happened? 8.25. Oh, it's still locked. Okay, let's make it 8.25 wide. Okay, so now that looks pretty good. Now we have this, of course, we want to make it a tab. We can leave it flat like this because it's going to glue all the way around. We don't need to shear off anything with it. So what I'll do is I will place this. I'm going to change its color.
That's supposed to be on its side and not on the top and bottom.
Ah, okay. Good point. Okay, so this should be 0.5. And this should be 7.25. There we go. You're right. Oh, don't touch it, Bette. Okay, click on it. Let's lock it in there. All right, I'm going to change its color to yellow as well. So when I put it all together, of course, we're working with it. Now, because I positioned this at 1, 1, I can now come with this. And I know my Y has to be 1. And since this other one is 1/2 an inch, I wanted it 0.5 for X. That looks pretty good. So I wanted to, I guess I could have extended this one without having to do this, but I like to have it in place just because I want to put a score line there. And the reason I want a score line for this is just so I can see where I'm going to line it up later. It's not entirely necessary. So my height is what, 7.25? There we go. And I'm going to line that up at 1 and 1. So it goes into the right place. All right, my score line is here. I'm just going to turn it off for a second because I just want to deal with these two pieces. I want to weld those together. So I'm just going to grab those two pieces, make sure I don't have this grabbed. I'm going to come up here to combine and weld. I have the one piece. I'm just going to drag it down here. I'm going to show my score line again. Hey, perfect. So now I have something that goes around the edge. Let me just take those two together. I just want to group them so they don't miss out. Now the other part is we want a score line at the 1/4 inch mark, top and bottom. Really easy. Aha, matching that score line. Yes. Okay, so let's grab another score line. And I just grab it here. And I want to rotate it 90 degrees. And this one is 8 1/4, correct? Yes. And I want this at 1 1/4 down, and I want it at the 1/2 inch mark here. Just looking at my position is 0.5. And I want it at, oh, this is interesting. I want it at 1.25. I didn't make it long enough because I forgot I was adding 1/2 inch for the tab that we put on there. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to add 1/2 inch. So it should be 8.75. And now I will just change my X position to 0.5. Perfect. All right. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to make a copy. And I'm going to position it down here. And it's going to be at 0.5 and 8. And I can see it right here. So let's go 0.5 off to the edge. And I said 8. And that looks pretty good. It looked like the top and bottom were folded under twice for the curved edge. Another score would be at 1/8 to make it easier. Yes, good point. So let's do that. Let's add, we did this one at the 1/4. And to make the roll a lot easier, I'm going to duplicate both of these guys. Let's go Shift click. Let's duplicate so I can duplicate both at the same time. Now this one, I'm going to go back out to the 0.5. And this is going to be 1.125. There we go. And this bottom one will be at 0.5. And so this will be at 8.125. 8.125. Isn't mathematics fun? That will definitely make the roll a lot easier. You can add a couple more if you want, especially if you're dealing with heavy duty stuff. So let's just grab all this together. And I'm going to group, but actually we could attach it. This will be our tube. Now the other thing is, if this is going to be out of craft paper and you want to cut another one of a design paper to go over top to get that design in, that's probably the best way to do it. That's the way they did it. I'm just going to make a copy of this, and I'll just call this one for pattern. And maybe the for pattern one down here, it's attached. Where is my group down here? Group within a group. There it is. I'm going to change the color slightly so I know that one's for the pattern. So we've got one with a pattern and one without. Okay, so now I've got two pieces here. So we've created those. This is a lot of fun to put together. Thank goodness we didn't have to shear off the edges. Now the next one is, I'm going to move my pieces of paper here so I can see what I've got. We have all kinds of little insidey things. So we have a circle that is 2.58. So this is going to be pretty easy. Shape. And I'm going to make this purple. And I'm going to change the size to 2 5/8. So that's 2.625. Oh, 22. 2.625. That's better. Now we may have to test a few of these. That would be the one plain one. I'm going to make a copy for one for the top, one for the bottom, one for the plastic, and then I'm going to take another one for the inside part of the circle, and this is going to be a 2-inch one. I'll make that 2. This is going to go on top, it's going to be behind, so okay, I'm going to arrange it and bring it to the front. Now, one other thing we had was a little cut out of this piece that's going to come out of this one, so what we need to do is make sure we get that little cut out. And that little cut out was a 1/2 inch. So maybe I just grab another little circle here. Let's make this a 1/2 inch. 5. I put it at the top. That's not going to work exactly what we wanted, a 1/2 inch down. So we want more of an oval. And that oval is probably about 1 inch wide. Let's try 1 inch. And I want to bring that oval to the front.
After we're finished the circles, we should probably add some tabs to our rectangles to have something the circles to glue onto.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now that looks, I don't know if I like this. I know I only want 1/2 inch, but I'm going to bring it down a little more. Let's get this centered horizontally. All right, let's slice that out. Yeah, okay, I can live with that. Now this one on top of this one, I'm going to grab those together. I'm going to align center. And I'm going to slice that one out. No, maybe not. That is going to be a cut and a perf. So I've got 2 different things here. So Tika, thinking cap, I need a cut and a perf.
Duplicate it, make it into a score line.
Okay.
And then
Actually, I can make it into, because I only want this top part's going to cut out like this, but the rest of it I want as a score line. So this becomes a challenge, though.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea of how I can do this and just make a copy of it. This is thinking out loud. Remember, I'm going to move this into perf. If you're not doing a perf, it won't make any difference. So I can just move this to perforate. It will perforate the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can put, let me just think out loud here. This will perforate the whole thing, but it's going to leave this little flap that we wanted.
You can do a perf and a cut, can't you?
It's just cutting this piece out right here. So let me experiment with this.
All right.
I'm going to take this way. So here's where the real messing around becomes true. Okay, so let's just grab this and center this. You can bring back the slice piece and use that as the cut. Yeah, we can do that. Let's go backward a little bit here. Let's go grab that slice piece I deleted. Well, that's a long way back. There we go. So this piece probably will fit in there. Okay. Let's just make a copy of this. And I have another copy of this one. Okay, a copy of this. This will make a perf. Should go on top. Doesn't matter if it perfs all the way around, because I'll just center this. Just take this piece, and we want to cut that piece out. That doesn't look like it's centered very well. Okay, so I want to, I'll get it as centered as possible here, the perf. Now we want this piece to cut, so I'm going to bring it right down on top of that perf. It won't matter if it's perfed, and it will cut. I'm going to have to zoom in a bit to see what I'm doing here. Just want to be able to see. Good thing my camera's not on, because I got my nose right up to it. Okay, I think that will work. So now we have the perf piece. We have this little piece cutting out. Let's grab that together. Important. I'm going to attach it. And this is the circle top. Perfect. All right. Now I've got the extra pieces here. I'm not going to eliminate them. Usually I don't. But this time I did, and then I needed it, of course. So we have the bottom one. That's easy enough. I don't have to do anything with that. And then we have this one, which is going to be the piece of plastic. I'm going to change the color of this. And maybe I'll make it green. Let's see. What do I want to do here? I think I'll just take a little bit of a score line. Grab this. And I'll just make it, let's shut this so I can see my degrees up here. I want 90 degrees on it. And I'm going to make it 2 inches. And I'm just going to grab that. And I'm just going to center it. Line center. So it's in the middle and it's up and down. And then I'm going to change it from, just click away here. I just want that score line. Pick it from here if you need to. Score line and make it a basic cut. There. Now we have the piece of plastic. I'm going to grab it and attach it. Now this one, when you go to cut out a piece of plastic, can either do it on the mat or by hand, because I'm not too sure how you would want to do this. Let me just do this as plastic insert. That's the circle top. This one is the circle bottom. Those will work okay. I'm going to zoom back out 100%. So we have our 2 pieces we will cut out. I'm just going to group those just in case I need them again. I'm going to group them, and then I'm just going to hide them on the screen. So that appears to be all of the pieces we have. Now, the next big test, of course, is to cut this all out on sample paper first. Is that what you want, Tika?
We still need to add the tabs to the top and the bottom so the circles have something to glue to.
These should tuck in underneath.
If it's rolled?
Yeah, because they were rolled inside. So on this, when these roll over, they form like a tab. So they were just glued into the rolled piece like this.
All right. Well, I guess we can test it and then see if we need to make any adjustments.
Okay. All right, any questions? If you use an acetate sheet, yeah, that would work. You can do it on a mat. Not sure how plastic wrap would work on a mat. I think if you cut out the shape and you have a soft plastic, because you want something where you can pull the stuff in and out, you can test with cutting with the soft plastic. Now, whoops, sorry. Let's see, get some black space on here we don't need. Okay, any questions on what we did with this? Tops looked like it had some type of tab. Yeah, that's a possibility. So what you want to do is cut this all out and play with the roll and everything that you put on top of it and put the thing together, which we won't do on this webinar because we're right at the top of the hour right now. But we just want to show you that process. Would thin vinyl work for the plastic? Yes, it should, as long as it's flexible enough, because originally it was for pulling out tissue. So you can make it, as long as it's flexible enough. I think that's going to be the big key. So any other questions? I would like, any other questions on what we had been doing? Thicker plastic, like a freezer. Oh, a freezer bag can be cut on the mat. Now, that is a great idea, Betsy. So I like that idea, a freezer bag, because you kind of have to know what kind of materials you're going to play with. Now, for the inner tube, I think craft board is probably best. And then for the outer sheet, you can print on just printer paper or a shiny printer, 32-pound bond. You can print your design out that you want, maybe from the digital papers, or use some of the stuff that you have hanging around. I just want to show you something that I have hanging around here. I've got these extra sheets. They're really thin. That came in one of those pads. And that would probably work really well on this as well. They're big enough. They're 12 by 12, and they're very, very thin. So that might work for your outer shell as well. Cereal box. Yes. Cereal box would work extremely well. So any other questions? Looks like everybody's happy. So I want you to practice this. This is really an important part, because it's taking it apart and going through that kind of head game where you're going to be very inventive as you go through things. And I know that it's a lot of fun to do, because Tika and I do this all the time, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. One of the things we love to do is taking things apart and recreating them. I've done a lot that way. Rolling the tube on a table edge or counter before gluing will make it easier. Yes, it would be. In addition to making one completely from scratch, it would be great to personalize the original product with an extra layer glued on top. Absolutely. You want to personalize these. You don't just remake it, but you want to make it personal in a way you can add your own designs, your own ephemera, different things we've done is, done the cover on something like this, added some ephemera, glued it in place, and then used Mod Podge to seal it. And I just, just different things like we did. I didn't make the jar, but we did, just the Mod Podge on top. My grandkids made these little designs, so I Mod Podged them on top. So you can do all kinds of things like that as well. Toilet paper roll definitely would work. It's a lot thinner, so you're going to have a lot less in it. It's a lot less height, but you can practice with being able to roll these edges, and it seems like you can roll them. You just won't have, I'm just trying to roll this in. It's not as easy because it's, you don't have the score lines, but I guess you could put some score lines on it and roll it in and start playing with it exactly with materials you already have on hand. I have a twist close to a cake box, which I've been thinking about remaking. Perfect. So Ruth, go ahead and try it just using that process. really important to play with it and start working with it. Okay. That was our reverse engineering. So March 5th is our next one, and we're going to look at perforations. And we're going to do perforation not just with the perf tool, but we have some other ideas on how you can do perforations without the perf tool. So you don't have to buy a piece of equipment or a Maker 3 in order to do that. You'll be able to do it on your Explorer as well. Why wouldn't you cut the corners of the tab on the top and bottom edges? They won't overlap. Yeah, you can do that. I decided not to because when I'm gluing them together initially, I want to have them separate, but you could snip them off by hand or just add it into your design and design space. That would be perfect. Okay, I have a perf tool, never used it. Time to start pulling it out, so next time. All right, just to remind you, if you don't have your digital kits already, March is around the corner. February is still up, so you will be able to take advantage of getting both of these, your digital kits. This is $19 a year, and they're really inexpensive. It's under $2 a month. And I know Tika loves designing these. I love designing the projects that go with it. And we just finished designing all of April, so we had a lot of fun. So just a reminder to go grab this. I have one other thing I want to mention here that I mentioned yesterday. We've put a new, we'll grab your freebie first. So right here is your freebie. That is the book that I was using to go through and do all my markings. That's this little booklet. So go grab this right away. For those of you who are seeing the replay, it stays up there so you can go grab it. If you're watching the video on YouTube, it's the same thing. betsmakes.com/reverse-engineer. It will download immediately. This is a PDF file for you to use when you're doing all of your things. Instead of scrap pieces of paper, it has it all in one place. I know you're absolutely going to love this. And this is the thing, this is a limited time offer. We're not going to keep this open only a couple of days to see if there's interest in this. This is our mastery course. Now, this is all about taking your Cricut designing all to the next level. Not only do we teach you a little bit about reverse engineering, but all kinds of color theory, different types of software. It is an 8-module session, 2 hours each module. We are delivering them live beginning March 18th. So the 18th and the 20th. So every Tuesday and Thursday, we will be delivering this course. It is really intensive. If you want to design your own stuff, this is perfect for you. It is not inexpensive. So if you go to Mastery Height registration, it'll give you all the details about everything that is inside this. I will warn you, we've given you $100 off. This is $97. We generally sell this one for $197 and only offer it out once a year because there are so many changes all the time for what we're doing. So if you're interested, go ahead and register. If we don't get enough registrations, we will cancel the course and refund anybody that has purchased it. So just today and tomorrow, I'll probably keep this open till, what do you think, Tika, just till after, say, Sunday, and that's about it. That's the only time we'll take in the registration. Yep. We don't want a lot of people in it because it is interactive. If I get too many people going, it just doesn't work as well. So we're kind of limited between 10 and 15 people. So if you're interested, jump in. They are already. Alice, perfect. Yes, and of course, between the people that are in my mini course right now and with the webinar, those are probably the only people we're going to offer this to over the next couple of days. If we don't hit our number, I will offer it out to our general list and see if we can get it up to the 15 people. But I really don't want to take more than that because I want to be able to see you face to face. It will not be on StreamYard. We will do it on Zoom. And that way you can talk back and forth with us and we can work through different parts and pieces. We have a course syllabus and of course a workbook and all kinds of different parts and pieces for it. So I just want to mention that one as we go through. So there's a couple of things. If you don't have the digital kits, go grab those. And let's see if I can go backwards here. So 3 things actually. Digital kits, number 1. Grab your digital kit. Number 2, go get your download of the reverse engineering, the stuff we worked on today. And number 3, register for the mastery registration. You are going to love this course. It is really in-depth and we have a lot of fun with it. We even take you into places like Illustrator and show you some of the techniques in there beyond, of course, Design Space. Although we do center on Design Space, we'll show you other ways of doing things as well. So I hope you have a great time. And our last mini course is next Tuesday. We're finishing off that 8-part session. That is next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, we do not have, of course, one of our webinars, but we have the next one on March 5th. So I hope you have a good week. And I guess this is only Wednesday, but I can say weekend. And I hope the snow stays away from you.
I have a bit of a question for our audience. I'm just wondering how many people here use digital planners? If you do, can you just press yes? If you don't, no. I'm just curious. It's a new thing that I've been playing with.
And I just want to introduce Stephanie. If you don't get paid in time for it, I will just email it min@betsmakes.com. And at the time when you want to pay for it, and then we'll open it up just for you. That will work. Okay. You got a lot of no's there, Tika.
Oh, I know. Joyce has them.
Okay.
I've been taking our digital kits and making them into little monthly planners for me to use digitally. And I wanted to share that with people in the future.
Only Google Calendar. Okay. No, I don't use the digital planner. Thank you, Bette, and take it for another session. No, thank you so much. Okay. So everyone, go enjoy the rest of your week, the weekend, and we'll see you on March the 5th.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.